Let's dive into your story real quick. You kind of got your fame growing up, being pretty good at skateboarding and becoming a pro skater. Briefly, how was that journey? Like, how'd you come into that, and then where did you transition into where you are today? I mean, it could be a long story too.
Yeah. So I started, it was a very like unplanned and kind of just natural evolution into it. I picked up a skateboard when I was a kid, thinking nothing of it, fell in love with it, did it every single day, all day long, and just didn't want to stop doing it. And so right around the time I was 16, my parents were pushing me to get a job and I didn't want to work. So I figured out how to get companies to give me free product. And then, the idea was if I can get companies to give me free shoes and skateboards and clothes, I'll never need to buy anything I need. And then for money I need outside of skateboarding, I could sell some of the stuff to like other skate kids. And that's basically the path I took. I ended up getting, 3 companies to start sending me free stuff. And then that supported me for about 2 years. And then I got the opportunity to start traveling the world. I started getting paid to be a skateboarder. And then that became kind of my first, I guess, career.
Interesting. So, would you say like some of that entrepreneurial thoughts began at that time of like, hey, what resources do I have? How do I get what I want?
You know what? Looking back, yes. Like at that age, I didn't even, know what an entrepreneur was. But I was kind of I always felt like if I needed something done, I can go out and do it. So I think there was that idea of, creating something. And then as I went into skateboarding is a very kind of entrepreneurial activity, actually. The problem is it's more like aligned with like a solopreneur than it is
Okay.
like somebody who's actually going to build something at scale. I was always attracted to the skaters that like own things. I just thought it was like, I thought it was rad, and it was so like against the grain because skateboarders or the perception of skateboarders is that we're not that bright, we're not that smart, we're not that capable. We just know how to ride a skateboard. And so when I saw skaters like actually doing like real life activities, I just thought it was cool. And so I was always attracted to that. But being attracted to it and actually doing it are two different things. I had to learn how to do. So, as I went into skateboarding, I only had to worry about me. It was how do I want to skate? What's the, tricks I'm going to put out? How do I negotiate my deals? It was this one man show that was then supported by other companies, but I had no skill set or understanding of how to work with people. So that is something I really, really had to learn. That business is all about team and it's all about delegation and ultimately managing people and emotions correctly. That was such a learned thing. That was hard for me in the beginning.
Interesting. So, what was the step to? Did you earn enough skating where you could like invest now, and you're like it made you have to go learn that, or did you have like a mentor come in and say, "Hey, man, look, Mikey, you gotta do something with this
Yeah,
these."
that's a really good question. So professional skateboarders, we don't make a lot of money at all. So that was kind of the first hurdle, that I picked a career that had no longevity and I wasn't making like basketball money where, when this thing was over, I was good. And so in the beginning, I took the approach, and I did have phenomenal guidance when I first started, which was live like I am completely broke, like in the gutter, live off nothing, so that I could put as many dollars as I possibly could into investments. And if I could do that long enough, even if it doesn't support my income, it's going to be somewhat of a cushion as I move into the next thing. That was kind of the plan. And then I got the opportunity to ride for the shoe company, and they were kind of going through a transitional kind of moment where they wanted to rebuild their entire team, marketing, design, kind of, the whole front facing element of the company. And they wanted me to come in and kind of lead that mission in a sense. And that is kind of where I had my first experience of not knowing how to work with people. And I went into this, for example, I went into like an office full of designers, and we're getting samples of shoes, and instead of me knowing that like For a designer who just spent a ton of time building something, I probably needed to say, parts of this are great. I recognize the hard work you did. These are some of the things we need to change. I looked and went, this shoe is shit. Like, what are we doing here? This isn't what we talked about. Why do these things keep coming back wrong? I'm throwing shoes in trash can. It was a mess, right?
Oh, wow.
And I got a call, like this moment that I'm talking about, I got a call that night from the president of the company. And he was like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm basically like telling him, like, look, dude, this is what we're here to do. And this is the standard. And none of this is great. Like, everything we do is good, right? And he's like, dude, I get it. I love the passion, but like, you have to mellow out. And there was an element of that where I was young, I was a little bit naive, and I didn't fully understand what he was telling me. Thank God, because I heard that and went, okay, I'll always be viewed as a skater to these skate companies. I need to go create my own thing. That the only way I'll ever be able to push the way I think I can is if I own the company. And that is actually what led to me starting my first company, was that kind of that transaction or interaction. And then I had to learn people. The first company that I ever started that really led to that was a company called St. Archer. It was a craft brewery in San Diego. I learned almost everything as we started that company. That was the college education I never had.